What's up everyone? Update 1.116. And if you've already downloaded it or your game auto-updated in the background, you might be wondering what actually changed and whether it's worth jumping back in and tweaking your career, your wheel settings, slide, or your graphics setup. So let's walk through everything in a way that actually makes sense when you're the one sitting there on the grid, trying not to bin it into turn one. First off, this patch is laying the groundwork for the big Survival Challenge Part 2 event that's coming up. Even if you're not someone who lives inside those limited time modes, this patch is basically the thing that makes sure that second phase will actually work properly. All the back-end hooks, event logic, reward stuff, that's getting wired in here. So if you enjoyed part 1 or you were annoyed that you missed some of those cosmetics and want another shot at similar style rewards, this is the update you need installed. The mode itself isn't getting a complete redesign here based on the notes, so the core format stays the same. But the game is being prepped so the next wave of that content can roll out without everything falling over. Now, if you're the kind of player who cares about how your driver looks in the paddock, in the garage cutscenes, or on those podium shots, this patch actually gives you a bunch of new stuff to mess with. There's a stack of licensed casual wear coming into the Podium Pass store. We're talking real-world brands like Puma, Alpina Stars, Anti-Social Social Club, Kappa, Pata, Period Correct Squadra Course, Stance. That kind of streetwear vibe that makes your avatar feel a bit more like a real-world racer who just stepped off an Instagram reel. It's all cosmetic, of course, no performance here, but if you like matching your in-game look to your favorite brands, it's a nice little quality of life bump and something to browse the next time you're in the customization menus. The big win for career fans, especially people who sink hours into my team, is the change to title sponsor liveries. Previously, you'd unlock or buy these really nice designs, but you couldn't properly use them everywhere. A lot of them were locked behind F1 World or tied directly to specific sponsor contracts, and it felt weird having a library of cool looks that couldn't actually be your main car in my team. With this patch, that restriction finally gets lifted. If you own a title sponsor livery, you can now run it freely in my team, regardless of which title sponsor you're actually signed with. That means if you've got a favorite design sitting unused, now's the time to bring it out and make it your permanent look. There is one little thing to keep in mind though. Those liveries often have baked-in sponsor logos and graphic elements, and if you've gone wild with the decal editor in the past, you might see some overlapping shapes or logos when you switch one of these designs on. The game does keep your decal layout, but the combination can sometimes get messy. So after the update, it's worth popping into your car customization, flicking through your available title sponsor designs, and then jumping into the decal editing screen just to nudge things around and make sure everything lines up cleanly. On the track side, there's a nice fix for something that has annoyed people at Bahrain. There was a rare but frustrating issue at the exit of turn 4, where cars could hit what felt like an invisible bump. You'd be doing everything right, get on the throttle, and suddenly the car would react in a way that made no sense. This patch cleans that up. So if you're running league races or serious career seasons that start at Bahrain, that little ghost bump shouldn't be throwing off your laps anymore. It's one of those things that only affects a specific corner, but if you've ever lost time or even a race to that kind of glitch, you know how much nicer it is when it's finally fixed. Then we've got the sim hardware side of things, which is a big deal if you're on a more serious rig. The game now adds proper support for the VRS ecosystem. That means VRS Direct Force Pro bases, the various R-Series formula wheels like the R295, the Pro, the Lite, and the VRS pedal set. If you're on that gear, this isn't just a line in the patch notes. This means you should finally be able to set things up in a cleaner, more official way instead of relying on awkward workarounds. One important detail here is that if you're using the Pro or Lite formula wheels, you'll want to go into the Direct Force Pro configuration tool on your PC and make sure the input mapping is set to modern. That's the mapping the game expects for things to behave properly. Once that's done, jump back into F125, go through the usual wheel calibration and force feedback tuning, and you should be in a much better place in terms of consistency and feel. PC players also get a few targeted fixes that are worth knowing about. There was an annoying issue where if you enabled FSR, then restarted the game, it could quietly revert your anti-aliasing back to a straight TAA option without making it obvious. After this patch, that setting should properly stick, so your visuals should remain as you left them. On top of that, the way rain looks in exported highlights on PC has been improved. This isn't about gameplay visuals during the race, it's specifically about the clips you export. So if you like to make montage videos or post your best wet weather drives, the rain should look more natural and less janky in those rendered highlight files. There's also a tweak to shadows on the F2 2025 cars to make them look more consistent, which is a small thing, but helps the overall presentation. Speaking of F2, there's a more important gameplay change there. Tire wear for the F2 2025 cars has been adjusted to better match how these tires behave in real life. If you spend a lot of time in the feeder series or you play a career route where you start in Formula 2 before jumping to F1, this matters quite a bit. The way your stints unfold may change slightly. Maybe your softs don't fall off a cliff quite as early, or maybe a certain compound is now just a bit more sensitive over long runs. The practical takeaway is that any strategies or setups you had dialed in for F2 races might need a little bit of testing again. Run some practice laps, watch your wear percentages, and get a feel for how long each compound actually lasts now. What this patch doesn't do is mess with the fundamental handling of the F1 cars or radically rewrite the AI. It's not that kind of update. Think of it more as a support package. It gets the next survival challenge phase ready, expands cosmetic options, unlocks livery freedom in my team, fixes some annoying glitches like the Bahrain bump and the PC graphics quirks, and improves support for high-end sim gear and F2 tire behavior. If you've been away from the game for a bit, this is the kind of patch that quietly makes things smoother behind the scenes while giving you a few new toys to play with when you jump back into your saves.